Hi, everybody, and welcome to Open Mic. I'm your host, Johnny Kane. It is Wednesday, April the 9th. It's been said of the month of April. It's a reminder that life's a beautiful, ever-renewing cycle. Hope life's been good to you this week, and we have a good show laid out for you where we'll cover some different ground over the next hour here on the show. If it's your first time tuning into the program, you're going to hear some fresh voices. Voices of student broadcasters who speak on a variety of topics that are relevant today. You also hear from some voices that you might recognize, perhaps from a Detroit Lions game or longtime listeners of Detroit Sports Talk Radio. In the past, we've covered topics from how name, image, and likeness impact high school athletes, how college athletes can take ownership of NIL to make it work for them. We've discussed the work of the Detroit Sports Commission in attracting major events to our city, like the Final Four, which is coming in 2027. We've heard stories about the career pursuits of some notable professionals who've reached the pinnacles of their crafts, voices like Dan Dickerson of the Detroit Tigers, and also Dan Miller, the voice of the Detroit Lions. Tonight, we'll hear from one athletic trainer who's worked in Major League Baseball about how the recent rule changes in MLB have impacted the risk for injuries, in particular, injuries to pitchers. And we'll get the reasoning behind some of those rule changes and what other changes may soon be coming to the sport. We'll also hear from local coaches who weigh in on their sports villains. You know, I think we as fans sometimes have players we love to root for, and then those players, not so much. And a lot of time, the players you root against, you love it if they played for your team, but that's the beauty of sports. An interesting commentary and some opinions on that topic. Danny Rogers is on the show. Danny works as a sideline reporter for the Detroit Lions. Danny also hosts Inside the Pride on Lions TV. She's a University of Michigan grad. So from Ann Arbor to Toledo, now to Detroit, how she got to where she is today, and the glamour, or lack thereof, I should say, that comes with being a sideline reporter. Mike Stone, the man Detroit sports fans know simply as Stoney, he's on the program. He's been covering Detroit sports on radio since the mid-'80s. He's seen it all. He's a really good guy. So we're looking forward to catching up with him in just a bit. But I mentioned a commentary on sports villains. And when I hear villain, I think the counterpart to the hero, right? The antagonist, like a heel in pro wrestling. Ayden Novak is an aspiring sports reporter from Lake Orion High School. Ayden, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
You got it, brother. You know, you've got a commentary on sports villains, which I think it's interesting. It's compelling. How'd you come up with it?
So my first interview that I did here was with Christy Dosh and you on episode 3. And I brought up that I'm a baseball player and I'm going to college for baseball, and I've been playing baseball for the past 12 years of my life. And after the interview was over, Kristen actually emailed me and said, "You did great. I think it'd be a great idea for you to do a piece about sports villains in baseball." And I thought to myself, that sounds like an amazing idea. I'd love to do that. It sounds really fun.
Was it easy for you to come up with your list of names?
It took a bit of thinking because there were so many names that I could think of, but overall, I think, it was pretty easy just to think of 3.
And what was your criteria?
Basically, guys that essentially cheated, if you will, whether that was taking steroids, doing drugs, a buzzer in the jersey, banging trash cans or something like that. It was just anything that kind of tampered the game overall, like any individuals that kind of tainted their reputation.
All right, so you went with Barry Bonds, Jose Altuve, and Fernando Tatis Jr. Here's Ayden Novak's commentary on sports villains.
A sports villain is a player who becomes famous for breaking rules, showing off, or dominating in a way that makes fans love to hate them. Whether they cheat, trash talk, or just win too much, they feed off the booze and always stay in the spotlight. This goes for any sport, but baseball sure has its fair share of players who wore the black hat. One player that sticks out to me and many other people is Barry Bonds, a jaw-dropping hitter with a prickly attitude and a big asterisk due to steroids. He made outfielders look like little leaguers just watching the ball fly over their heads. And even though his home run record is tainted due to using PEDs, I still believe that he's the best hitter baseball has ever seen. It takes an immense amount of talent to hit a baseball as consistently as he did, and the steroids only helped so much. But another player that stands out to me is more recent and, of course, has controversy stemming from the 2017 Houston Astros World Series team. That's none other than Jose Altuve. Altuve has always been a flashy defender with great speed and a flair for the dramatic. And let's just say, he always gives the crowd a buzz whenever he hits a home run. Holding that jersey right when he walked across home plate to win the ALCS for the Astros in 2017 just sparked controversy all around the league for Jose Altuve. One last player is even more recent that sticks out to me, and of course, he's the San Diego Padres superstar, Fernando Tatis Jr. Tatis was supposed to be baseball's next superstar, lightning fast, smooth in the field, and capable of jaw-dropping home runs. However, his abuse of steroids a couple years ago that got him suspended was really what tainted his reputation. Now every home run comes with an extra long stare, every stolen base with a little extra flair, and every team just remembers everything that Tatis has ever done, especially with the steroids.
All right, Ayden. So your commentary isn't limited to your own opinions. All right. Who else's opinions did you get?
So I got my head coach, Andy Schrammick, here at Lake Orion Baseball, my assistant coach, who's our catching coach, Dennis Recknagel, and one of my good friends, one of our pitchers and third baseman, Carson Russell.
And any surprises from them?
There was one. Recknagel actually went way back in time, and he picked up Ty Cobb, and I was very shocked to see that he went way back when the Tigers were really just kind of first starting out. He went way back in the time machine, but that was really the only surprise because the other two went with more modern players.
All right, let's listen.
Yeah, one baseball villain, I'd say it'd be Joe Kelly. Probably just because all his antics he does on the field, always saying something to the other dugout, all his crazy celebrations. I'd say that makes him considered a villain in the league.
Jason Worth, former Philadelphia Philly, traded to the Washington Nationals because he wanted to spend some extra time with Chase Utley's wife. Well, and that's against the rules when anywhere, but especially in a clubhouse.
Ty Cobb is one that comes to mind. He was beloved by Tiger fans, but despised throughout the whole league because of how he played. He came in with high cleats, wasn't afraid of contact, and people thought he was a dirty player.
There are plenty more controversial superstars in the game of baseball and all throughout sports. For SportsCaster.com, I'm Ayden Novak.
Well, everybody's got opinions, that much we know. Ayden Novak from Lake Orion High School, class of 2025, baseball player. What's next for you upon graduation?
So I'm currently committed to Delta College to go play baseball and also major in broadcast journalism. Beyond that, it really depends after those 2 years. If I get offers to go play at other schools for baseball, I'm going to take them. If not, my plan is probably to go to Michigan State University to continue my degree in broadcast journalism.
Wish you all the success. Appreciate the input on today's show. Still to come, baseball is the greatest sport we have. That's my opinion. And in the last few years, we've seen the implementation of rule changes which have reshaped the game. Some changes have been effective, but other changes have come at a cost to players' health, says one baseball expert within the medical field. His opinion next on Open Mic.